What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Something a little different today. This past weekend, on Saturday, I was at the local Hartville, Ohio show that I go to pretty much as often as I can. And one of the dealers that I talk to all the time, he's watches videos. He had a CSG card in his case in the new holder. And I said, hey, can I take a peek at that? And it wasn't anything huge. I said, hey, what do you want for this? And he gave me his price. And I was just like, done. I was like, I'll buy this just to talk about it on a video and to get one in hand and to kind of see it. Now, I had previously had a old CSG case back in the day at a Baker RPA out of Immaculate, I think, in a CSG case. And that was the first time I'd ever had a CSG case. And they felt really good. Obviously, we know the issues with the label that a lot of people didn't like, but the case itself felt great. And I've been very curious to see how the labels look in person. So, without further ado, my new CSG case / card. CSG 10, Colin Sexton Blue Velocity. So, luckily, it was a player that I actually don't mind having from like from a Cavs perspective or whatever. But it was cheap. This was like 25 bucks or something. And I bought it mostly just to get my hands on the case. Now, for those that have never actually seen a CSG case in person, the two biggest things that immediately pop out are they feel fantastic. They are in hand outside of maybe BGS. One of the sturdiest cases. They do not feel flimsy at all. They just feel really nice. The biggest thing, these things are, and this is kind of what I expected because the first CSG case that I had in the old label, and I've seen like some CGC cases as well and stuff in hand. These things are crystal clear. I don't know what they use for plastic, and I've never held an HGA card. People have said that the HGA cases are crystal clear too. But these things are just absolutely crystal clear. The acrylic, whatever they use, in my opinion, is the best on the market in regards to the way it looks. I don't think it's even close, to be honest with you. The card just really shows itself in these cases compared to some of the other ones. Now, the thing that everyone's wondering about, the label. So, new label. That's the new label. It's fine. I think it looks, I expected it to look a little better in person, to be honest. But that being said, it's non-offensive, if that makes sense. This is a perfectly fine generic label, which I think is what they were exactly going for. I did kind of like on the old one, I guess it has it a little bit there. It's a little holograph there on the CSG logo in the top corner. Probably has a little security feature. Because you don't really notice that. Like, you almost really don't even see that when it's laying flat like this. But, so keep that in mind. I don't know that people are counterfeiting CSG slabs, but there's a little hologram up there in the corner. And then you have your hologram on the back and the QR code. So it's just not offensive. It's whatever. I like it better than, shout out to Peter, no offense, but I think I do like it better than the SGC label, in my opinion. Similar, actually. They are actually now having one now side by side. I've never been a big fan of the bold, blocky lettering that they use on their numbering system here. To me, this looks a little cleaner than this. I like the CSG label better than the SGC label, in my opinion. But it's not like this is a world's better than this. I think this is the CSG label is a little cleaner version of the SGC label, in my opinion. And then we all know what a Beckett label looks like. I don't have a gold label laying around, but I have my LeBron refractor here on the desk. I'm not a fan. This is kind of a poor comparison because I hate the silver labels on the BGSs. But my biggest issue with these has always been they shake loose a lot. The way that they sit in there, the weird perforated edging, they're kind of hard to read. But they're not. They're fine. I'd probably put it on par with the CSG label. With this gets a little extra dinged because it slides around a lot. And then we all know what the PSA label looks like. I got a billion of them laying around here, and now my disaster has struck. The LeBron has fell. I picked this up at the show. I guess I'll show this off real quick on here. This is my other pickup from the local show in Hartville. Blue Scope, Justin Herbert. Traded a Vlad Prism PSA 10 and $100 cash for this. It was valued at a little over $600, $620, $630, I think. So then, PSA label next to CSG label. And the PSA label's whatever. It's not. It's people refer to it as a prescription bottle. That's pretty accurate. As someone that works in the pharmaceutical industry, yeah, I could see that for sure. So size wise, this has been done plenty of times before. Size wise, a CSG case is very similar to PSA in size. Like if you line them up, they would fit just perfectly. But you can see the difference. Essentially, the card in the CSG case sits lower in it. So I have these kind of pushed down to the bottom, and you can see the top of this card in the CSG case sits lower than the top of the card in the PSA case. In the CSG label, they did not change the label size. That was one of the knocks, that the CSG label size was huge. And it still is. It's the same exact size as it was before. But what they've done, the way that they've kind of rejiggered the design, it looks not as large. It's a little bit of an optical illusion, but you can see it next to the PSA label there. Still quite a lot of extra space on there. Now, in some cases, that's good, because I have had cards, I don't know that I have anything laying around here, that there's so much information on it that it cuts a bunch of stuff off. I don't think that would be a problem on this label. So, to me, the label is perfectly fine. It is very non-offensive. The slab itself, still absolutely stunning and amazing. I encourage you, if you're at a show and you see a CSG card, whether it's old label or new label, and you haven't had one in hand yet, I encourage you to just ask the dealer to see it and just put your hands on it and feel it. So from that side, it's really good. Resale value wise, so far, I've only checked a couple comps. I have not sat and done a deep dive. I'll probably wait another month for that. I want enough to get on market to kind of get a fair sample size of it. So far, I have not seen a huge shift in prices yet. And like I said, don't blast me in the comments. I have not looked at a ton of stuff to this point. I looked at a very few examples the other night, and they were still selling about 50 to 60% of a PSA 10. But there's just still not a lot of data yet on the new label CSG 10s. So I'll give that a little bit of time and then give it a little bit of breakdown. But the thing to remember is you could grade with them for, I think, $12 on bulk. I don't remember the turnaround time off the top of my head. But the slab itself, absolutely fantastic. The label, very, very non-offensive. It's perfectly fine. It's not a game-changing label, but I don't think that's what they were going for. I think they just wanted something that was not going to rile everybody up. And it's extremely neutral. That would go with pretty much anything. Now, I saw just this past week, they announced that they have I think it's a pristine, don't hold me to this, basically their version of a black label. I think it's a gold label or something, or it has gold in it. I forget what it's called. It looks okay. I would need to see one in person. My overall initial thoughts, the label underwhelmed me a little bit in person. But once again, it's very non-offensive. It's fine. Perfectly fine label, which no company has some amazing label that, jumps out and does somersaults, in my opinion. Even the HGA labels, as much as people love them, and some of the color match and splash stuff that they did looked okay. There were some others that were just absolutely god-awful. It was very, very hit or miss, depending on what they were doing. But, and then, the other downside of that is that your card's in an HGA slab. So that's kind of a bump. But that's my thoughts on the new CSG slabs. It is nice to have one in hand. And, I mean, you can see it right here. I mean, that card really pops in that slab due to the clarity. So, Yeah, that's all I got. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, notification bells, the whole 9 yards. And we will catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.